Okay, welcome back students. Quickly, in our previous video we discussed about pointers to objects, how we are going to access the data members and member functions from a class or from an object where it is having a pointer to it, and using that pointer how we can access the data members and how we can access the member functions that we have seen in our previous video. And right now we see this how pointers to objects are going to behave in inheritance. So inheritance is a concept where we are going to have the relationship between multiple classes, okay, more than one classes. So in such scenarios, how these pointers to objects are going to behave, that we study over here. So like as we discussed, in inheritance basically we are going to have a base class as well as a derived class, isn't it? So if you have this type of single inheritance, isn't it, here what we have only one base class and only one derived class. So this type of inheritance we call it as single inheritance, only one level from base to derive, that's it, we don't have any other class involved over here. So this type of inheritance we are calling it as single inheritance. Okay, single inheritance. So that I'm writing over here. Let me take the pen. So then we can write on this slide. So that I'm writing single inheritance. Single inheritance. Okay, so here we call this class as base class and this class as derived class. This we already discussed, these terminologies and all we already discussed in your inheritance concept, isn't it? So this is your base class and this is your derived class. So you can have an object to the base class and you can have the object to the derived class. So over here, when you are creating objects for base class and derived class, so only the base class object or base class pointer can point to the derived class object. So what is base class object? So this you can read over here. Okay, a pointer of type base class is capable of pointing to the derived class. Okay, capable of pointing not only to the base class but also to the derived class, that you have to read over here. Okay, so that concept. So let us say here I am creating what is our base class? Base class is A, isn't it? Base class is A. And what is our derived class? That is B. So what I am doing now, so let us say I am creating an object for base class. How I can create? Simply by following the class name. So my class name is A. Okay, so I am taking my class name object name as AOBJ. Just to have the difference, I am taking my object name as AOBJ. Then I have a class B. So that B I am writing like this, BOBJ. Just to have the difference, BOBJ. So now how can I create the pointer for A class? That is nothing but base class. So that is A star PTR2 AOBJ. PTR2 AOBJ. Pointer to A object. That is nothing but base class object. Base class. This is nothing but your base class object. So then derived class object pointer, creating it is meaningless because it cannot point to the base class object. So simply I am creating B star PTR PTR2 BOBJ. PTR2 BOBJ. So like this I have created the pointer to object, pointer to B object. So now the concept is very clear. This base class object, it can point to both the base class object as well as derived class object. This base class pointer, this is nothing but your base class pointer. PTR to AOBJ is nothing but base class pointer. So this base class pointer can point so to this AOBJ as well as to the derived class to this BOBJ. But whereas this BPTR, it cannot point in reverse. That is not possible. So this BPTR, it can point only to the BPTR only to B object. It cannot point to A object. So only this is possible. Pointing from here to here, it is not possible. Pointing from here to here, it is not possible. So that I will cross mark. So this thing is not possible. Simply you remember what possibilities we have. Base class object can, base class pointer can point to base class object. Base class pointer can point to the derived class object. But derived class object, it can only point, derived class pointer, it can only point derived class object. It cannot point to the base class object. So this concept only we are about to discuss, and in every case whenever we are using the derived class whenever we are using base class object to point, base class pointer to point derived class object, we have to use arrow operator only. Whenever we are using a pointer to object, we have to use the arrow operator, that we already know. This we call it as indirect access operator. So basically we have to use indirect access operator whenever we are dealing with pointer to object, isn't it? Indirect access operators. This indirect access operator where we use whenever we have the concept of pointer to object. Whenever we have the concept of pointer to object, we use indirect access operator. So this pointer to object in inheritance, it is something related to pointer to object concept only. So that is the reason why we have to use indirect access operator in our discussion. Okay, so one more thing you have to understand over here, after making this base class pointer to point the derived class object, from the derived class object, what data members we can access? It is an important concept and it is an important understanding to have. So let us quickly discuss that one. So what I will do, I will take that Microsoft whiteboard to explain the stuff. So I'm writing two classes over here. So first I will write class A, and then I will derive class B from that A. So because that derivation is very, very important, this kind of relationship you have to show on the programming, this relationship that I'm talking about. From A to B, we have this arrow. It shows that A is base class and B is derived class. The same thing we have to show in programming as well. So that I'm writing over here. So first what we have the class A declaration, and it is a base class, so it is not inheriting anything. So directly I'm writing that class A definition over here, class A. Okay, in it what I'm doing, I'm taking one public data member. See, public data member. Okay, and that public data member I'm taking like A, int A, small a. Then I'm taking one method function, the one function that is void display function to display the value of this A. So void display. Again, this will also go more than one slide, so you try to follow that one. So display of, see in C++ always we have lengthy programs, void. So like this. So then close this class and try to write the definition of this display function. So here what you do means, because again we are going to have one more class, that is class B. So here display A, I will take my function name as display A, and I will passing the parameters, no parameters. So like this I have taken. So close this class and put the semicolon and write the definition for this display A function. How we can write? So first you write the return type, that is void, return type is void. Then take the class name A, use the scope resolution, and then you put the what we put, the function name display A, display A followed by the parameters, that is no parameters, so put the void over here, put void over here, then write the code for this A. So I'm printing only A over here. I'm printing only A. So that's cout of A data members, A data member colon close string, and write that A over here. So like this, we are simply printing the A value. That's it. So next, what I'm doing, I'm creating my B class by inheriting from this A class. So how I can do that one? Yes, first you have to write the keyword class in inheritance. Keyword class, then write the class name, derived class name B, and use the inheritance operator colon. Then publicly we are deriving from A. So public, this is mode of inheritance, and we are deriving it from A. Use the curly bracket, open bracket to open the class declarations. Then you write the definition over here. In it, I am declaring public one data member public colon int b, small b I am taking, and here also I am taking one function, that is void display b, void display b, display b function of void only, of void only. Put the semicolon over here. So like this. Next what we do, yeah, in it write the definition for this void b. So write the return type first, that is void, then write class, that is b, okay, then scope resolution, then you write the display of void, display of void. So in it print that b value, cout b's data members, b data member. I hope here this area is blocked by my video, so simply print that b data member b, b data member, and then b, small b you have to print. Put that semicolon and close this. Yeah, before this, here you have to close this class also. Okay, keep the semicolon here. So now these two classes, the relationship between A to B is single level inheritance, isn't it? From A to B we have the inheritance. So this B class, what it is going to have, what it is going to inherit, this B class is also going to inherit this A as well as display A. So I will show you graphically how these two classes are related to each other, and what data members we are going to have in A class and what data members we are going to have in B class. So that I will show you graphically. So take one empty whiteboard sheet. So now here I am drawing my A class. So take the A class here. Here you take the A class. I'm drawing that A class. So inside A class we are going to have, sorry, I have to take the pens. Then I'm selecting the color. Then I'm drawing my A class. This is my A class object. If you create, how you are going to create this A class object? So if you write this statement in your programming inside your main function, basically A is equals to obj A, obj A. Like this if you do, you will get this area. Here you will get A data member, and display A member function, display A member function. You will get like this. So suppose if I create B's object, so B, obj B, like this if I do, what I will get, this is A class object, this is obj A. The identifier I'm writing over here, obj A. So if I do like this, I will get B's object like this. This is B's object's area. So inside it, it will also have two data members basically, isn't it? It will have two data members, that is A equals to as well as B is equals to, because inside B we have B and this will gain A from A data member from A class. So like this it will take, because it is inheriting, isn't it? We have the relationship single inheritance. So B class object will get two data members, and here you will have display A as well as display B. Like this you will have two functions you will have. So now if I create the object of, pointer to A class, so how I can create? A is equals to A star is equals to ptr A, pointer to A class, pointer to base class. So this pointer to pointer to base class, if you do like this, ptr A equals to ampersand obj A, obj A. So now what it will do? It is pointing to this ptr obj A, isn't it? Obj A. This is pointing to obj A. So it is going to here. It is going to here. So now using this ptr A, how I can access A and display A? Simply by following the arrow operator. So in this way, can I access any members from this B class? No, I cannot access any members from this B class. It is completely illegal. In this direction, it is not possible. But if you do like this, ptr A equals to ampersand obj B. So object of B class, pointer of A class is pointing object of B class. So now what you will do means you can access the data members from B object. This is your B object, isn't it? This is obj B. Obj B. This you can access only these data members. This A and display A you can access using this ptr A. Now, so that we will see in detail what data members we can access and what data members we can't. So let us assume I'm removing some things over here for your understanding. So yeah, like this. First let us initialize this stuff. So first what I am doing, I'm initializing obj A equals to some 10, some random value 10 I am taking. Where it will go? It will go here. 10 it will come here. So next thing, can I do like this? Obj A dot B, is it possible? Equals to some 30. No, it is not possible, because inside obj A, you can see inside obj A we don't have B data member. Do we have? No, we don't. So it is not possible. Doing so is an illegal thing. It is not possible. So simply remove that one. Doing so is an illegal thing. So can I call this display A from this obj A object? Yes, I can. Obj A dot display. Can I do like this? Yes. If you do like this, on your output screen you will get that message. A data member equals to 10. A data member colon 10. You will get that message on the output screen, because this display A function, this is display A function is having that message. So you will get that message on the output screen. Hope you got it. Hope you got it. So next thing, so this is when we are creating A's object. So after creating B's object, there is a relationship between A to B, that is the single inheritance. So after creating B's object, can I do like this? Obj B dot B equals to some 20. Yes, we can. Obj B dot B, that is 20. It will come over here. Next thing, obj B dot B, B dot A equals to 40. Can I do like this? Yes, I can do. But this 40, where it will be placed? Is it going to change this 10 and it will become 40, or it is going to be inside B's scope? Yes, it is going to be inside B's scope only, because this 40 we are initializing to A, which is there inside OBJB, isn't it? So this 40 will come over here. This 40 will come over here. So like this. Now, whatever data members you are accessing using OBJB, that scope, and whatever data members you are accessing using OBJA, that scope, these two scopes are entirely different. These two scopes are entirely different memory locations. OBJA is different and OBJB is different, entirely different. When you are creating OBJA, a separate memory will be initiated to that OBJA. And when you are creating OBJB, a separate memory will be initiated to that OBJB. So basically this is your OBJB. OBJB and OBJA you have over here, and these two areas are completely different. So whatever modifications you are doing using OBJA, that modification will employ to that OBJA object only. So you are initializing 10 to this A, which is under OBJA. So this 10 will come over here. This 10 will come over here. And you are calling this display A function from that OBJA. So this display A will be invoked from here. So whatever value you have inside A into this scope, that value you see on the output screen. This value you won't see over here. These values you won't see over here, because this area and this area are completely different. And whatever OBJB you are creating, a separate memory block will be initialized to that OBJB. So here OBJB.B, this B will get initialized from that OBJB. And OBJB.A, this A will get initialized from that OBJB. Clear? So if I call OBJB.A, OBJB.display A, if I call this function display A, which function will be invoked? This function will be invoked, and this function will print this value, this 40 it will print. This will not print this 10. This will print this 40. And next thing, if I invoke OBJB dot display B. So this will invoke this display B. This will invoke this function. Isn't it? This function, display B function, and it will print this 20. And it will print this 20. Clear? And it will print this 20. So next thing, so initializing and creating the pointers and initializing the object addresses to that pointer. So that I am doing over here now. So creating the B class pointer and trying to initialize A class object to it, it is not possible. Reverse is not possible. Only A class pointer can point to B class object. A class pointer can point to B class object. That is nothing but base class pointer can point to derived class object. Base class pointer can point to the derived class object, but derived class pointer cannot point to the base class object. Derived class pointer cannot point to base class object. That is not possible basically. So here what I am doing, first you create the pointer to the base class. Create the pointer to the base class. So that is A star. Okay. So pointer I am creating. So PTRA. So this is PTRA. So next thing, PTRA equals to ampersand OBJA. So now this PTRA can access this A data member as well as this display A function, because it is an pointer to that PTRA object only, to that class object only. It is a pointer to base class, and it is pointing an object of base class. So it can access all base class members, all public base class members directly outside the class. So doing like this, PTRA dot A is correct. You can access. and PTR not dot arrow operator we have to use right now because it is a pointer. So PTR A arrow display A, doing like this it is legal. Doing like this it is legal. But using this PTR A, when it is pointing to obj A, we cannot access any of the members from this obj B. It is illegal. Any of the members from obj B, because it is pointing to A object only. It is not pointing to B object. So how can you access the B class data members? I mean B class B object data members. It is not possible. It is illegal. So next thing, what I try to do is, after creating the object PTR pointer PTR A, now I am storing the address of this obj B. So obj B. So before that I have to explain one more thing. So quickly I will take all those things. So like this we are accessing, isn't it? Like this we are accessing. So if I say over here, if I say inside this A, if I put 50, what value will get changed? What value it get changed? Yeah, this 10 will be replaced with that 50. This 10 will be replaced with that 50. So you will get 50 over here. So now you are invoking the same display function from that PTR A. Invoking the display A function from that PTR A. So I will take that PTR A also into consideration. So that PTR A I am drawing over here. Okay, a small box I am taking, and here this is your PTR A base class object, and right now this address let us assume 1004 and this address let us assume 2004. So right now it is pointing 1004, isn't it? 1004, the address of base class object, the address of base class object. So it is pointing indirectly, it is pointing here like this, it is pointing indirectly, it is pointing like this. So if you try to change any data members values, that will be changed from this object itself, and if you try to invoke any member functions, and those will be invoked from this base class only, base class object only. You don't have any connectivity between this PTRA and to this obj B. So that is the reason why you cannot access any of the data members from this base derived class object. Any of the data members from this derived class object. So now what we do, I will simply remove all these things, and I will make the, yeah, better you put and discuss, because again you will get confused what I was doing, again you will get confused. So now what I do, so instead of storing the address of obj A inside this base class object, I try to store the address of B class object. PTR A equals to and percent obj B. So right now what will happen? If you do like this, what will happen? This address will get replaced with what? This address will get replaced with B object's address, that is 2004. That is 2004. So here you will get 2004, and ultimately this link will be removed and you will get a new link from here to here. You will get a new link from here to here. So if you do like this, this skeleton, this pointer A is capable of accessing only A class members, base class members from the derived class. So even if you do like this, even if you store the address of derived class object inside base class pointer, address of derived class object into base class pointer, what will happen? It can access only the data members of base class from the derived class object. So doing like this, your PTR A now is able to access only this A and display and it cannot access this B and display B. We don't have any access right to this B and display B. So if I do the changes like this, if I do the changes now, PTR A arrow mark A equals to some 100. Now I am making it as 100. Where this 100 will get reflected? Where this 100 will get reflected? Is it going to reflect in the base class? No. Right now we don't have any connectivity between the base class object and the base class pointer. We have removed that connectivity. So doing so will not change this 50. Doing so will not change this 50. Rather, this 100 will get reflected over here. It will change the A class data member which is there inside derived class, that is B class. So this 40 will get replaced and you will get 100 over here. You will get 100 over here. So if you invoke the ptr A arrow display A, okay, from where this display A will get invoked? Is it going to be invoked from the base class? No. Again, as we don't have any relationship over here, it will not be invoked. If this is invoking, you will get this 50 on the output. And if this is invoking, you will get this 100 on the output, because display A is printing only A value. Display B is printing only B value. Display A is printing only A value from the base class. So right now you are invoking the display A from the derived class. So you will get A value from the derived class. So this 100 you will get on the output screen. This 100 you will get on the output screen. So doing like this will print this 100 from the derived class object. It will not print 50 from the base class object, because we don't have any connectivity right now. So like this you have to understand. So can I access like this? Can I access ptr A dot B, arrow B and ptr A arrow display B? Can I do like this? No, we can't, because the skeleton, it is capable of holding only the base class members. The pointer is of base class, so it can point only to the base class members. Even from the derived class, it cannot point to the derived class members. So doing like this is an error. You cannot access the derived class members from the base class pointer. You cannot access the derived class members from the base class pointer. So all these things quickly we will see with the help of an example program. So quickly go and create that A class, create that B class as it is I have done. So hash include iostream.h, iostream, then using namespace std colon, so int main of void, this I will write afterwards, but before that we have to declare the classes and we have to write the definitions for those classes. So first I am declaring class A. Okay, regularly I am declaring like a normal class. I am declaring in it I am taking a public data member, that is int A. So like this, int A. So void display A of void display A of void. So declaration I have done, close this and write the definition for that display A function. Immediately we have to do that one. So void A scope resolution display A function with void. So write the definition for that function. So in this function I am printing the value of A. So cout base class members. Base class members, we have only one member there, that is A. We are printing that A. Okay, so now I am going to inherit one class, that is B class, from A class publicly. A class publicly. So in it I am taking one data member, that is public colon, I am taking int B. Okay, so this publicly we are declaring, and it will derive what data member it will derive from class A. It will derive A. Okay, it will derive A data member. So that I am noting down simply for your understanding. So now I want to declare one public method, that is void display B. Display B. Isn't it? Display A we have already taken. Now display B. So void. So in it, what I want to do the declaration here and write the definition outside the class. So which is the best way of practicing. So now close this class declaration. So at the end, put the semicolon. Now void. What is my class? B class. Inside B class, I am declaring this. See, when you are saying, even though you have not declared, it is automatically showing A and B also, because it is inheriting. Because it is inheriting other two functions. So here I am writing the void, and in it I am printing C out of derived class members. Derived class members. Derived class members that I am printing like B. Okay, derived class members, we are printing B. So no need to write the definition for that display A, which is already written. Okay, and no need to declare that A variable once again, because it is already declared in base class. So now the definitions are over. Inside my main function, once again, if you want to have a review, quickly we'll have a review. See, I have taken one simple class, class A, with only one public data member A and one display function, public function, display A function. And what this display A function is doing means it is printing the base class data member A on the output screen. Okay, then we have declared another class, B class, and in it I have declared one data member, public data member, B member, and display B. And what this display B function will do means it will print the value of B on the output screen. Clear? So apart from these things, it will also, B class will also derive display A function, isn't it? Display A function. It will also derive display A function. It will also derive A data member. So indirectly it will have A over here and display A function over here. So now creating the pointer to the base class. How we can? Like this we can. ptr A. Okay, so creating the pointer to the base class, derived class, ptr B. So doing like this ptr B can point only to the B object. So first you create the objects. A class, AOBJ, then B class, BOBJ. Okay, now this ptr A capable of pointing both AOBJ as well as BOBJ, because it is the parent class, it is the base class. But ptr B capable of pointing only BOBJ. It cannot point AOBJ. It can also point AOBJ, but that is not our concept. It is not there in our syllabus. We'll not go into that much deep. Clear? So you simply remember, for your syllabus, for your topic, for your concept, you simply remember that ptr A can point, because being a pointer, it can point both AOBJ as well as BOBJ, that is base class object as well as derived class object. But whereas being a derived class pointer, ptr B can point only to the derived class object. It cannot point to the base class object. It cannot point to the base class object. So now that same explanation, initializing AOBJ's address to ptr A, it is the concept like pointer to object. Initializing BOBJ to ptr B, it is same like pointer to object concept. You can access all A data members, A class data members by using arrow operator. And you can access all B data members using the arrow operators. But if you initialize, this I will remove, but if you initialize B class object to A class pointer, base class pointer, derived class object, that is our concept over here. That is our concept over here. So ptr A, this is base class pointer. Base class pointer, and to this base class pointer I am initializing the address of derived class. Address of derived class. So now what I can access? I can access only the data members, only the public data members which the B class got derived from the base class, which the derived class got derived from the base class. So in my case, I can access only this A and I can access only this display A. So first what I will do, I will do the modifications. I will try to initialize the data members using this A and B. I will initialize this AOBJ as well as BOBJ. So AOBJ I am initializing. AOBJ dot A. Only one data member I have. So 10 I am keeping. Then I am calling AOBJ dot display. AOBJ dot display. So this will print that A value on the output screen. So whatever you have done initialization over here, that will be printed on the output screen. So next thing what I am doing, using this BOBJ dot A I can access. So 20 I am keeping. This scope is entirely different. This BOBJ scope is entirely different, like how I have shown over here. See, this is AOBJ scope and here we kept 10. Now in my program I am keeping some different values. So here I kept 10, isn't it? Here what I have done, here I kept 10. So then I invoked this display function. So it will display this 10 on the output screen. You will get this 10 on the output screen. So this is over. Now what I am doing, now I am trying to access this scope. So here what I am initializing, 20 I have initialized. So this 20, where it will go? Into the B class object. So here this 100, yeah, here I have initialized to 10. This A will receive this 10. So next B also you can initialize. BOBJ dot B. So I am initializing, let us say 30. So what you will get? Here you will get 30. This value will be replaced with 30. Okay, this value will be replaced with 30. Next thing, call BOBJ dot display A. This will print 20, it will print here. 20 it will print, and moreover whenever you are printing the values, always try to add endl. So to see in new classes, here also you print endl, put endl new. Okay, so here, yeah, where we are, okay, we are printing display A, BOBJ dot display B. Display B. So this will print the value of B from BOBJ. This will print value of A from BOBJ. This will print the value of B from BOBJ. But over here, this display A, as you are invoking on AOBJ, this will print the value of A from AOBJ. This is different scope. Till this point, different scope. And from here, a new scope will be started. Until this point, this is a different scope. And right now, what I am doing, I have created the pointer of A class, base class, and I'm storing the object of derived class. So now what data members you can access? Can we access this B and display B from this PTR A? Means we cannot. We can access only A and display A, that too from the derived class object only. That too from the derived class object only, because my PTR A is pointing to the derived class object. Okay, so now can I do like this? PTR A arrow A. Yes, this is possible. This is possible. I am initializing some 100, or else you simply print the values. Okay, PTR A arrow mark display A. This is possible. Okay, can we access PTR A? Can we access B? No, we can't. Display B. Doing like this is an error. So simply keep this in semicolon. In comments. In comments you put this one. So doing so is an error. First we will see what error we will get, and then accordingly we'll do the modification. Compile. It is taking some time. So here it is PTR, PRT. Here is a spelling mistake. PTR. Okay, PTR A, pointer to A. So again go compile. So it will give error over here. So as you can see, class A has no member function, member name display B. class A has no member like display B. That is the reason why we cannot access. So simply put this thing in comments and save this. Okay, now compile. Now the compilation is successful and execute. What value you will get for display A? Yeah, whatever you have initialized inside B object, whatever you have initialized inside B object, that only you will get here. The last display call. The last display call will print this 20 as a value. This 20 as a value. Okay, that you remember. That is of our concern. Okay, we are calling the display function. How many times? Display A here we are calling, display A here we are calling, display A here we are calling. So first we'll see step by step. I will put this entire thing into comment. I will put this entire thing into comments. We'll go step by step and see how the output will change. So first, this display call will invoke only display function from AOBJ, where we have initialized a value as 10. So you will get 10 on the output screen. You will get 10 on the output screen. Compilation successful, and execute and see the output. Yeah, when you have executed, you will see the output. You will get a value as 10. Base class members 10 you got on the output screen. So next thing what we do, we'll create the B object, we'll initiate the B object. A member, we will initiate the B object B member. We call the B object A display A function, and we'll call the B object display B function. So now you will get 10, 20, 30. Okay, 10, 20, 30. So compilation is successful and execution, you see. You get 10 from base class, 20 from base class, and 30 from derived class. So this method, this function, base class member we are accessing inside derived class using display A function only. Using the base class function only, we are printing the value of base class data member, but from the derived class. And we are also printing derived class data member, that is 30. So B data member. So now creating the pointer, initializing the pointer with base class or derived class object, and accessing the base class function with derived class pointer object. Okay, so like this you can do, but accessing this display B, it is not possible. Save the program. Program got saved, and quickly go and compile the program. Compilation successful, and see the output. Yes, you will get like this, the output. So you are getting base class member, you are accessing base class member and derived class member, and this is lastly we are accessing the base class data member from the base class pointer, which is pointing to derived class object. This concept is very, very important, and this concept is something pointer to object in inheritance. How the pointer to object will behave in inheritance, that we have discussed. Concept is very simple. Whenever you are having a base class pointer, that base class pointer can point to derived class object. That base class pointer can not only point to the base class object, but also it can point to the derived class object. Okay, doing so, when it is pointing to the derived class object, you can access only the data members which you have inherited. You cannot access the data members which you have declared inside the derived class. You can access only the data members which you have inherited. So with this, we'll conclude this concept. And the third thing, that is constructor invocation in inheritance, that we will see tomorrow, hopefully. Thank you, students.